our latest videos in one place.
FatPhobia.
Skinny people can do.
FatPhobia. Go away, you suck.
Gained weight.
Fat liberation.
Fat Liberationist.
Let's dive into yet another episode of Fat Acceptance Logic Gone Wrong. You know, that corner of the internet where personal responsibility takes a back seat to blaming basically anyone else for the consequences of obesity. Fat activist Hannah is demanding businesses to bend reality so she can avoid facing uncomfortable truths about health. So, let's break down this video, part by part, and talk about why this kind of thinking is not just wrong, but harmful.
The level of fat phobia where people would rather defend multi-billion-dollar industries and corporations that rule the world over even just agreeing with a fat person that maybe they should have access to things. So, for example, I've seen many a person on this app say, well, why should H&M stock your size in store? If you want to shop in store, then you need to lose weight. Are you being paid by H&M to say that? In what world does stocking extended sizing impact you? Take anything away from you?
We are not defending corporations. We are just pointing out basic logic. H&M isn't some evil mastermind conspiring against you. They're a clothing store. That's it. It's a business. They make sizes that fit the average population, not the extreme outliers. You don't walk into a shoe store and scream oppression because they don't carry clown shoes. Or do you? And asking a business to re-engineer their supply chain to accommodate obesity is entitlement. Corporations' only job is profit. And the reason they limit plus-size availability is because, statistically, it doesn't sell as well. It's all about consumer demand, and in some cases, maybe brand image. But do you really think if there were more money in plus-size clothing, that brands would be intentionally fat-phobic? If that is even a thing. How can a business be fat-phobic? The body positivity movement was supposed to be about loving yourself, but you've warped it into a weapon to demand the world contort itself to your preferences. It's sad.
In what world does stocking extended sizing impact you? Take anything away from you? Apart from, of course, the righteousness you feel that you get to shop in store. That apparently, you H&M give you a big slap on the back for that. Is that it? Is that it? You assign so much of your own self-worth at the idea that a fat person goes, hey, I'd love something in my size, please. You go, well, you can't have it because only I can have it because I've been a good person and I am the size I am meant to be that H&M has dictated. These are multi-billion-dollar industries and you would rather kiss their arse than even look around at your own friends and family and maybe advocate for their betterment. Same with plane seats, right? Plane seats. If a fat person goes, oh, it'd be awesome if plane seats were bigger, right? And you all go, well, I could fit in my seat. And if they made the plane seats bigger, then they would have to put all the costs up to accommodate it. And I'm not going to pay more for my plane seat just because fat people want bigger seats.
So, you want bigger seats without higher costs. Do you even hear yourself? Planes have fixed space. A seat is a seat. If you make them wider, you get fewer seats. This is not even capitalism, but pure physics. It's basic logic that a child could understand. Your solution is for everyone else to subsidize your comfort, because you refuse to address the root cause. Reality check. Being overweight isn't free, for you or society. In the US alone, obesity-related conditions cost nearly $173 billion per year in medical expenses. It's predicted to significantly increase in the future, with projections reaching over $2.6 trillion by 2060.
I'm not going to pay more for my plane seat just because fat people want bigger seats. First of all, they don't have to put any seat price up, right? That's capitalism, right? They are putting the seat price up and blaming the consumer for it when they just don't need to be making as much profit. These are multi-billion-dollar profitable corporations. They don't have to be making as much profit as they are. And yet they would blame us and then encourage you to blame the fat people just for wanting, I don't know, a bit of comfort in the air.
Funny how your mentioning capitalism while demanding private companies subsidize your body choices. So, airlines are already charging people for checked bags, seat selection, even a can of Coke. However, your weight also matters. The only reason your weight matters is because it literally affects fuel costs. Planes are engineered to optimize efficiency, and extra body weight adds to the problem. In fact, according to FAA studies, every additional 10 pounds on an aircraft costs airlines millions annually in fuel. So yes, you are costing others money, whether you want to admit it or not. And let's not even get into the fact that when you overflow into someone else's seat, you're taking away the comfort they paid for. And we don't blame you for wanting a bit of comfort. We blame you for your staggering arrogance and refusal to take personal responsibility. The World Health Organization calls obesity a global epidemic, linking it to heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and at least 13 types of cancer. So the fat acceptance movement you're peddling encourages people to accept a state that statistically guarantees them a shorter, sicker life. And your response to this public health crisis is to demand bigger seats and more XL t-shirts on a rack? How profoundly shallow. How pathetically devoid of any real aspiration for your friends and family beyond consumer goods.
A bit of comfort in the air? Fucking hell. You are doing their bidding for them and you don't even realise it. Like I say, you would rather be up the arsehole of these multi-billion-dollar corporations who don't even know you exist over advocating for your own friends and family. Bananas, it would never be me.
What's bananas is this victim mentality you push. And you end with the most pathetic guilt trip of all, that we're not advocating for our friends and family. True advocacy isn't enabling a deadly disease. True advocacy is having the difficult conversation. It's encouraging weight loss through healthy eating and exercise. It's supporting them in becoming stronger, healthier, and more capable, able to fit in a seat, walk into any store, and live a long life without demanding the world lower its standards for them. You're advocating for their continued suffering. And you can scream fat phobia all you want, but at the end of the day, the laws of physics don't care about your feelings. The world doesn't owe you bigger clothes, bigger seats, or bigger sympathy.
Spot on. Also, plane seats aren't comfortable for most people, so.
Literally, most people are not comfy on planes. But if a fat person complains, well, all of a sudden they are fine with plane seats being as small and narrow as they are. Like they would rather be in pain. Then agree with fat people.
Fat people are supposed to hide their bodies, never showing skin, but also walk around with no clothes on because stores shouldn't sell plus-sized clothes. You literally cannot win in any situation.
They have nothing to offer other than size, so they need to feel superior because of it.
What if I told you that fat acceptance and body positivity are some of the biggest lies we've been sold? We're going to look at 4 TikToks from a creator who lost 170 pounds, but still can't let go of her fat victim mindset. She thinks society has some cruel double standard between fat people and skinny people. So let's break down each clip, one by one.
2 things skinny people can do that fat people cannot. Number 1, now that I am skinny, I can go to a restaurant and I can just eat whatever I want. It's like cute if I order a burger and fries and like eat a lot of food. But when I was fat, that was not okay. God forbid I would have ordered a burger. I would not have ordered a burger. First of all, I would not have done that, just because the judgment around what you're eating and how much you're eating, what you're drinking. And there's just like, well, of course she ordered a burger because she's fat. Like, that's why she looks the way she does.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Of course, a skinny person can eat a burger and fries in public without people batting an eye, because the assumption is that it's not their daily lifestyle. If you're already thin, people see that plate of food and think, oh, she's probably treating herself. But when you're obese, when you're already carrying an extra 100 pounds, no one is buying the idea that it's a rare treat. They assume, usually correctly, that this is your normal. That's not a stereotype. That's just pattern recognition. Fat acceptance tries to deny reality, but the truth is, Being overweight is the result of consistent bad habits, not one burger. Also, here is the problem with the body positivity movement. You're describing this deep shame around food like it's society's fault, but it's a fact that that shame exists because you knew what you were doing. You weren't being judged unfairly.
Like, well, of course she ordered a burger because she's fat. Like, that's why she looks the way she does. Or if you try to order a salad, like something healthy, grilled chicken, it's like you're not fooling anybody. Like, that's not how you eat. You're 300 pounds. You just can't win. So eating in public when you are overweight is mortifying. So what I would do is I would eat a couple bites, take my food to go, and I would eat it in the car in private, or I would eat it when I got home where nobody was judging me. Number 2, now that I am skinny, I am allowed to be tired. When you are fat, you are not allowed to come around and be like, oh, I had such a long day, I just want to go home and sit on the couch. No.
So, you were embarrassed because your body was the walking evidence of your habits. That's why you ate in your car, not because people are cruel, but because you couldn't face the reality of your choices. People love to say fat shaming doesn't work, but clearly self-awareness does. That's why you eventually lost weight. If you had stayed in that fat acceptance bubble, telling yourself, it's society's problem, not mine, you'd still be sneaking fries in your car. Also, fat people aren't judged for being tired just because they're fat. They're judged because being tired is the default state of obesity. Do you know why you felt exhausted back then? It was because carrying 100 extra pounds is literally exhausting. According to the CDC, obesity directly contributes to sleep apnea, lower oxygen levels, and higher inflammation, all of which drain your energy. So yeah, if you're 300 pounds and whining about being tired, people roll their eyes because it's obvious. You did that to yourself. You're not unlucky. You're unfit.
I just want to go home and sit on the couch. No, like the looks you're going to get, the judgment that you're immediately going to get, it's disgusting. People are like, you can't, when you're fat, you can't be tired. But when you're skinny, it's okay. It's okay if I had a long day and I want to come home and sit on the couch, or if I want to take a nap. That is okay. But as soon as you are overweight or fat, it is not okay, because now you're just lazy. People are thinking, do something with your life. Like, that's why you're fat, because you want to go sit down after work, or you want to take a nap. That's why you're fat. That is exactly what they're thinking. So then you just keep it to yourself. It's just so funny, this world that we live in, where there's just this constant double standard. It's okay for skinny people to do it, but not okay for fat people. Blows my mind.
What actually blows my mind is how you lost weight, but your brain is still stuck in fat victimhood mode. Instead of celebrating the freedom that comes with weight loss, you're still trying to defend the very habits and excuses that kept you miserable. You're not exposing a double standard, you're proving why fat acceptance and body positivity are toxic. They keep people trapped in denial instead of encouraging change. That's the real story here. Next, we have 3 more things skinny people can do that fat people supposedly can't. And honestly, the same theme runs through all of this, blaming society for noticing the obvious. Let's break it down.
3 things skinny people can get away with that fat people cannot. Number 1, now that I'm skinny, I could literally not work out another day in my life and nobody would care. But the second you're fat, everybody has an opinion about what you're doing and how you're moving your body. And if you're not like actively moving it, you're just like a lazy, disgusting person. Number 2, now that I'm skinny, I can get away with being a bitch more than I could when I was fat. And I think it's because when you're fat, people just automatically respect you less because of your size. That's how they are. I don't agree with it, but
if you're obese and sitting around doing nothing, it's not a mystery why you're overweight. You can't expect people to see you 100 pounds overweight and then be shocked that you don't move much. When a thin person skips the gym, nobody cares because clearly they've already been taking care of themselves. This is just people putting 2 and 2 together. And you cannot expect respect from other people if you don't respect yourself. Overeating to the point of morbid obesity is self-neglect. Respect is earned. If you look like you've given up on yourself, why would anyone else take you seriously? This is why fat positivity fails. It tries to force society to respect choices that are, frankly, self-destructive.
they just don't respect you as much. So the second that you like have an attitude, or you're not nice, or you're too opinionated, the names start coming out and people just don't like you. They just don't like you. They're talking crap behind your back. But when you're skinny, all of a sudden you have these same opinions that you maybe had when you were fat, and you say the things that you said when you were fat, but now they respect you. They respect what you're saying. Like, it holds meaning. It means something to them. And it's okay for you to say those things now because you're skinny.
No, it's not that being skinny magically makes your words more powerful. It's that people now see discipline behind your words. When you were overweight, your body contradicted everything you said. If you told someone to work hard or take care of themselves, but you clearly weren't taking care of yourself, why would anyone listen?
Number 3, I can wear whatever I want, whenever I want. And I can wear baggy clothes, I can wear tight clothes, literally anything, and look put together. Because being skinny is the outfit. Like, when you're fat and you wear tight clothes, you feel like you look disgusting. Like, you just can't win. Like, getting dressed when you're fat is super hard. Moral of the story, being skinny is superior to being fat.
This last point about clothes, that's all in your head. You say you feel like you look disgusting, and that is somehow society's fault? Fashion didn't hate you when you were overweight. You hated how you looked. Being skinny isn't the outfit. It's just that when you were obese, you saw yourself as disgusting, so every outfit felt wrong. Nobody was making you feel that way, but it was your brain finally realizing what your body was actually reflecting. Now that you're thinner, you've convinced yourself the world is treating you differently, when in reality, the biggest difference is that you finally like what you see in the mirror. So once again, what you are describing as FatPhobia or double standards is just the natural consequences of lifestyle choices. If you don't respect yourself, don't expect society to line up and hand it to you. And if you want the freedom to wear whatever you want, there's a proven solution: weight loss. Not fat acceptance, not body positivity, actual, difficult, real self-improvement. Let's see, what is there more to say?
Skinny versus fat treatment. Now that I've lost 170 pounds, I am treated so incredibly different. It is infuriating sometimes. Let's rewind to when I was 300 pounds. I was getting coffee for my team like I do on a weekly basis. I go into Starbucks, I get the coffee. I have 2 trays that I'm carrying. I walk out, no big deal. You know, you can use your back to open the door. Again, not a big deal. I get to my car. I park right by the patio where everybody is sitting. I'm obviously struggling. I don't know why I didn't just put the coffee on the ground, but I'm struggling to open my car door. I drop the coffee. It spills everywhere, all over me, all over my car, all over my shoes. Everybody sat there. Nobody did a thing. They just watched me be humiliated, spilling coffee everywhere.
What's actually infuriating is listening to you act like this is some grand injustice instead of admitting reality. People treat you differently now because you are different. You're not 300 pounds anymore. Maybe society didn't become nicer, but you became more approachable. That's human nature.
Me be humiliated, spilling coffee everywhere. After that, I vowed I was never going into a Starbucks again to pick up a large order. So I've been using the drive-thru ever since. Fast forward to today, the drive-thru is closed. I have to go inside to pick up the coffee. Same thing. I have 2 trays of coffee that I'm carrying. I get to the door, somebody sitting on the patio gets up, opens the door for me, and they're like, "Oh, your hands are full. Let me help you." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." And then he was like, "Oh my gosh, so you're not going to be opening your car door. Here, let me hold a tray of coffee for you." He walks me to my car so that I can get into my car, hands me the other tray of coffee, and I go about my day. Like, really? Nobody helped me when I was 300 pounds. Everybody just sat back and watched me be humiliated and struggling. But now that I weigh so much less and look different, everybody's quick to give me a hand. So frustrating.
So you are mad that someone helped you. Okay. They helped you now because maybe you look like someone worth helping. That might sound harsh, but people are more willing to step in for someone who looks like they respect themselves. I think society reacts to signals. People are not stupid. There is also human nature. At 300 pounds, your body signaled lack of discipline, poor health, and constant struggle. People naturally distance themselves from that. Maybe you don't get different treatment just because you're skinny, but you get different treatment because you finally look like someone who gives a damn. So, we've already seen her complain about eating in public, being tired, being disrespected, and not getting help at Starbucks. But now, in this last video, she finally admits the truth that her own habits were holding her back. The way she describes them is almost like she's exposing the dirty little secrets of fat acceptance in real time.
Habits that were keeping me fat. Now that I have lost 170 pounds, I look back on the choices I made when I was fat and I am like, no wonder you were fat, stupid. Like, why did you do these things? The worst thing I did when I was fat was eating in secret. And I know some of you guys are doing it too, so just stop. I ate in secret all the time. I would be on my way home from work and I would stop at a drive-thru or somewhere. I would buy an entire meal. I would eat it on my way home. I would stop at a gas station, throw the food away so there was no evidence, and then I would come home and make dinner for my family and eat the dinner with my family. So I would have 2 dinners every single night, and I've already had breakfast, lunch, snacks, all the things.
Fat acceptance loves to scream about how weight gain is complex and not your fault. But here you are, flat out admitting you ate like this. This is obvious food addiction. 2 full dinners every single night. And you are confused about why you weighed 300 pounds? This is the classic fat logic. I barely eat. I don't understand why I'm gaining weight. You can lie to your husband. You can lie to your family. But the mirror doesn't lie. That scale doesn't lie. And the extra 170 pounds you had to lose definitely didn't come out of thin air.
And one of the worst things I probably did while eating in secret is if we just had fast food for a meal and my kids didn't finish their food, they would always just throw their food away because they were done, right? Well, I would sneak into the trash can and get their leftover food out of the trash can and then eat it when nobody was looking. Oh my God, why did I do that? That is, first of all, disgusting that I did that. But I didn't need more food. I had already probably had 2 meals. There was one point when I'm sitting there crying to my husband. I'm like, I can't lose weight. Like, why am I so fat? I weigh 300 pounds. And then he's telling me, he's like, I don't understand either. You barely eat. I never see you eat food. Like, how are you gaining weight? He's just as confused as I am because I'm not counting those calories that I'm eating in secret. So if you are trying to lose weight, stop eating in secret. Those calories count. Eat normally if you can. I couldn't. So I don't know. Just do your best.
Digging food out of the trash? And it proves what everyone already knows, but fat activists don't want to hear. Overeating has nothing to do with society judging you. All is self-control, or in this case, a complete lack of it. This is why so many people roll their eyes at fat acceptance. The "I barely eat" narrative is one of the most common lies overweight people tell, to others and to themselves. Your husband couldn't understand your weight because he only saw the meals you admitted to. He didn't see the car snacks, the secret drive-thrus, or the trash can scavenging. And those calories don't disappear just because you ate them in secret. That's why you were fat. So in the end, your habits kept you obese. And the moment you fixed them, the weight came off and your life improved. That's the reality fat acceptance tries to bury. So I came across this video where someone argues that fat phobia is just like racism, homophobia, and ableism. This is the kind of nonsense the fat acceptance and body positivity movement is pushing, and it needs to be called out. We'll go through her video line by line and break down why this argument completely falls apart.
Let's talk about something I've been thinking about a lot. Why is fatphobia treated so differently from homophobia, racism, and ableism? And why shouldn't it be?
So you were thinking about it a lot, but did not find the logic still. Strange. I will now tell you. Because racism is discrimination based on something no one can change. Sexual orientation isn't a choice. Disabilities are medical realities. But on the other hand, being overweight is a direct result of lifestyle choices. What and how much you eat, how much you move, how you treat your body. The idea that fat phobia should be treated on the same level is absurd. You're comparing an optional behavior to things that are hardwired. I really think conflating the two is an insult to every person who has faced real, unchangeable discrimination.
When we hear racist, homophobic, or ableist comments, most people would immediately say, that's not okay. We recognise discrimination based on skin colour, sexual orientation, or abilities is really wrong. But for some reason, when it comes to fatphobia, People act like it's acceptable, even justified.
Yes, people act like it's justified because it is. Being overweight isn't just an appearance issue. It's the #1 risk factor for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, joint degeneration, heart disease, and shortened lifespan. We are just pointing out a lifestyle that kills more people every year than car accidents, drugs, or gun violence combined. Your body positivity is promoting a body that is actively breaking down.
But here's the thing, fat phobia is discrimination, just like all them other groups. It targets people for their appearance, for something about their bodies society has decided is not acceptable. It dehumanizes and shames people for simply existing in larger bodies. But all forms of discrimination are deep-rooted in power and control. Whether it's racism, homophobia, ableism, or fat phobia, they create an us versus them mentality.
No one's creating an us versus them mentality except the fat acceptance crowd. You turn health advice into oppression. When someone says losing weight improves your health, you cry discrimination. But that's just basic biology. Fat acceptance and extreme body positivity try to make everyone else responsible for your decisions. You want society to act like there's no difference between someone who takes care of their body and someone who doesn't.
An us versus them mentality, where one group is seen as normal or better, and the other is shamed, marginalized, and even blamed for their existence. Fat people face daily discrimination, whether it's in healthcare, at work, or in relationships, or even just walking down the street.
Getting worse healthcare outcomes because your lifestyle makes you more likely to have health problems is discrimination? Doctors bring up weight because weight is one of the strongest predictors of disease. Obesity costs the U.S. healthcare system about $173 billion a year. Do you think that's just bad luck? No, it's the direct consequence of poor diet, sedentary living, and ignoring basic health habits. You call it discrimination when a doctor tells you to lose weight, but that's literally their job, to tell patients what's causing their health problems and how to fix it. What do you expect them to say? A doctor ignoring weight is a doctor committing malpractice. And what do you mean you are discriminated in a relationship? Will you force someone to like you?
People assume that if you're fat, it's because you're lazy, unhealthy, or that you don't care about yourself. You'd never hear someone say those things out loud, about race, sexuality, or ability without major backlash. And that's the problem. People don't realize how deep fat phobia goes. It's not just about harmful words. It's about systemic discrimination fat people face. Just like how racism affects job opportunities and healthcare. Fat phobia limits access to fair treatment, dignity, and even proper medical care. Think about this. If you go to the doctor as a fat person, the first thing they will tell you to do is lose weight, regardless of your symptoms, regardless of whether you know you need to lose weight or not. Even if that's not why you've come in. Fat people are often misdiagnosed or dismissed, just because of their size. This is a life-threatening issue in healthcare.
Well, the life-threatening issue is obesity itself. You keep blaming doctors for telling patients the truth. You cannot say weight has no impact on health. Being obese cuts years off your life while lowering the quality of it. That's the consequences.
Fat people deserve the same respect and dignity as everyone else. And we need to start calling out fat phobia for what it is, another unacceptable form of discrimination. We can't pick and choose what forms of hate we allow to thrive. Let's change this together. Follow me, join the movement, and help us fight for equality and respect for everybody. Share your story and spread the message. Thank you for listening.
Equality doesn't mean ignoring reality. Respect doesn't mean validating destructive choices. If you really cared about fat people, you wouldn't tell them it's fine to stay that way. You tell them to take control of their health. So your entire argument was a demand for a world without personal responsibility. A world where we must all collectively pretend that the laws of thermodynamics don't exist to protect your feelings.
You can lose weight, not change the color of your skin.
So, society doesn't discriminate against fat people because they exist. We react to the very real consequences of obesity. Diabetes, heart disease, strokes, cancer. These aren't made up. They're the #1 killers in modern countries. and obesity makes them worse. The CDC, the World Health Organization, every other major health organization in the world says the same thing. Carrying excess body fat shortens your life. We can argue feelings all day long, but biology doesn't care about them. The fat acceptance and body positivity movements are some of the most dangerous ideologies floating around today. Instead of helping people lose weight, instead of encouraging discipline and self-improvement, they tell you to stay exactly where you are and demand everyone else clap for it. And what happens? People get sicker. And the same activists pushing this nonsense never take responsibility. The reality is, if you're overweight, you can do something about it. You can change your habits. You can work on your health. You can take control. Weight loss is possible, but not if you let activists convince you that it's hateful to try. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. If you found this video interesting, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, consider clicking join and becoming a channel member, and drop your thoughts down below. What do you think? Let's stop normalizing unhealthy lifestyles and start promoting actual self-respect, discipline, and real body positivity, the kind that comes from hard work and weight loss.
You would not be making the comments about what people eat if the person was skinny, I promise. So go away, you suck.
Welcome back to What I Eat in a Day as a plus-size girly.
What I eat in a day is a fat girl who knows she's fat and doesn't care about losing weight.
We'll review What I Eat in a Day videos, where people brag about overeating. These creators proudly call themselves fat or plus size, say they don't care about losing weight. Let's start.
Hey besties, this is the What I Eat in a Day as a fat person who doesn't care and spend their whole life worrying about losing weight. What I am focused on, however, is not eating out as much. If you've been following me for a long time, you know I DoorDash or go out to eat like every single meal, so I need to stop that. So we're trying to get that going. I made some pancakes this morning just because I realized I had some Bisquick, so I was proud of myself for that, for not DoorDashing McDonald's. It's not that I don't know how to cook, it's that I just don't feel like it. My dad was a chef, for crying out loud. Getting coffee out though is not a problem because I have my Nespresso and it literally scratches the itch so well that I don't even want Starbucks. I know, that's crazy, right? I should be a Nespresso spokesperson. It has saved me about $1,000 and I'm not even exaggerating. Anywho's, here's my pancakes with some syrup. I don't like syrup on my pancakes. I like to dip it. That's a little bit weird thing about me, but whatever. I only ate 3 of them because I let my body tell me when I'm full.
What I eat in a day as a fat person who doesn't care. That's the entire theme. You don't care. You're literally celebrating Bisquick pancakes like it's some personal victory because you didn't DoorDash McDonald's. Congratulating yourself for frying carbs instead of driving to buy carbs is not progress. You're just swapping one excuse for another. And then you brag about only eating 3 pancakes because your body told you you were full. No, your body is telling you something else entirely, and it's been telling you for years. It says, stop eating like this if you don't want to destroy your health.
Because I let my body tell me when I'm full. Next, I'm eating Whataburger because I was craving it, and just because I'm trying not to spend money eating out doesn't mean if I'm out, I'm gonna not get food. For example, today I was doing a lot of errands, and so I didn't want to go all the way home, so I just went to Whataburger. And let me go off on my tangent here real quick. There are a lot of really sad people in this world that don't understand that everybody's genetic makeup is different. Some people that are bigger, it is outside of their control. Some people have thyroid issues. Some people have PCOS. Shut your gosh darn mouth. You would not be making the comments about what people eat if the person was skinny, I promise. So go away, you suck. And I mean that. I'm allowed to have Whataburger, that's it.
Then we have the Whataburger. You say you're trying not to eat out, but immediately fold the moment you run errands. That's excuses. And then you go off on this tangent about genetics, thyroid issues, PCOS. But obesity rates in the US are at 42% according to the CDC, and the overwhelming majority is not caused by medical conditions, it's lifestyle. Very few of the cases of obesity are tied to thyroid disease. So when you use that argument, you're just hiding behind edge cases to justify overeating burgers and fries.
So go away, you suck. And I mean that. I'm allowed to have Whataburger, that's it. Anyways, then I chugged a whole thing of water because I drink a lot of water throughout the day. Look at my cute cup from Simple Modern. Having a big cup like that really does make me drink more. And then for dinner, I made $1 million pasta, $1 million spaghetti, whatever. It's a menage of things. But I was meal prepping for the week mostly because apparently I don't know how to cook for one. But I had a lot of gross stuff today. I didn't feel good. So I wanted to have some vegetables, you know. So I just pulled some butter noodles to the side because why are they so good? And then ate a whole bag of broccoli. Again, F off. I'm allowed to eat whatever I want to. Ooh, it makes me so mad. I never make these videos because of that. But anyways, here's me drinking another water because hydrate until you dehydrate. The motto I live by, really. But then my $1 million spaghetti was finished. Didn't it look beautiful? It literally tastes so good. It's like I put crack in it or something. Like, I know I don't. I watch myself make, but it's so good for no reason.
The dinner flex. You meal prepped $1 million spaghetti with butter noodles on the side because, apparently, your vegetable intake consists of an entire bag of broccoli drowned out by a pile of pasta. Meal prepping should be a weight loss tool, but you're using it to stockpile calories like you're bracing for a famine. Even though no one believes this is meal prepping but just your daily dinner, and there's nothing $1 million about this recipe.
But yeah, I'm not going to eat a singular carrot and a slice of apple. Who needs nutrients to live, whatever way that may be? Because I would so much rather be fat and happy than someone who has a sad life that always puts others down, even though they know nothing about them. Ooh, it makes me so mad. Anyways, that's what I ate today. Love you. Bye.
I'd rather be fat and happy than someone with a sad life. But you're not fat and happy. You're defensive and angry. And fat. This entire video is you shouting at imaginary haters, swearing at them, and pretending you're unbothered. If you were truly happy, you wouldn't need a 2-minute monologue justifying your food choices. You call it freedom, but it's a slow self-destruction.
Also, I feel like everyone forgets this fact, but scientifically weight is just used to measure the gravitational force keeping you on Earth.
There's nothing wrong with what you ate. Typical, balanced meals and you listen to your body.
Outside of your control. Look at what you eat, sis.
Let's see what we have next.
Welcome back to What I Eat in a Day as a plus-size girly.
Starting off strong, we have Greek yogurt with some vanilla and honey and cookie granola. Super good. Today I'm switching it up. I'm having Chobani sweet cream creamer with French vanilla coffee, so slay.
You kick things off with Greek yogurt and granola, trying to disguise dessert as breakfast. Tossing honey and cookie granola on top doesn't make it super good in the way you think. It just turns protein into a sugar bomb. And then the coffee. Sweet cream plus vanilla? That's liquid cake in a mug.
This is what my hair looks like in the morning, y'all. Send prayers. But I have these Kodiak French toast sticks. They're good. A little well done, but that's fine. And sausage. Look at this side versus this side. I'm too lazy to flip it over when I cook it, but yeah.
You literally admit you're too lazy to flip your food while it cooks. That says it all. I know this may be a joke, but if you're too lazy to flip a sausage, how are you going to flip your health? You're making a TikTok video about food, and you can't be bothered with the bare minimum of cooking. Forget weight loss. You can't even handle weight maintenance if this is your effort level.
Now we're having some pasta salad, macaroni salad, whatever you want to call it. Super good.
Someone from my mom's job bought these donuts from Brooklyn, so we tasted them. I wasn't a fan. And then, of course, I had to have a Coke Zero to end my night. Love you guys. Bye.
But for sure, you tasted them, didn't like them, but still ate them. Then the zero sugar Coke magically cancels out the thousands of calories you stacked earlier. When you eat foods that spike your insulin, things like pancakes, French toast sticks, ice cream, pasta salad, donuts, your body goes into storage mode. Insulin's job is to shuttle glucose into your cells, but when levels surge, your blood sugar crashes soon after. That crash doesn't make you satisfied, it makes you hungrier. This is why eating a high-carb, high-sugar diet turns into a cycle. You eat, your insulin spikes, you crash, you crave more, and you repeat. In other words, The more you chase these comfort foods, the more your body tricks you into thinking you need another hit.
Not one veggie, not one fruit.
Why do people do these? That's what we would like to know.
They've learned there is a community of people can't say the word on TikTok that enjoy watching obese women eat and get bigger, so now they profit off it regardless of their health.
Because their whole lives revolves around food and they think we're as fascinated with it as they are.
And last, we have...
What I eat in a day is a fat girl who knows she's fat and doesn't care about losing weight. I started off with the homemade strawberry lemonade, and nothing reminds me more of my childhood summers than a cup of noodles and a sandwich.
You know what else reminds people of childhood? Running around outside instead of sitting inside eating.
Cup of noodles and a sandwich, so that's what I had. It was so delicious. And if you don't dip your sandwich into the soup, you're weird. And don't even try arguing with me. Then later that day, I had some chocolate and I made an iced tea with like cucumbers and strawberries. Then I had hot Cheetos and dip, and I used dairy-free yogurt with a dip packet. For all my dairy-free babes, this is a hack. Then my husband actually made dinner, and he made a pizza with zucchini crust and Brussels sprouts.
You really expect anyone to believe that you eat like this last meal? After lemonade, noodles, sandwiches, chocolate, sweet tea, and Cheetos, suddenly you're a health guru at dinner? A zucchini crust doesn't erase the mountain of junk you ate before it. And there you have it. 3 different What I Eat in a Day videos. 3 perfect examples of how to guarantee weight gain and call it body positivity. Notice the pattern. Every single day starts with sugar, runs on processed carbs, and ends with defensive rants about why they're allowed to eat whatever they want. If you actually want to improve your life, stop following the advice of creators who glorify bad habits. Learn discipline, get control over your food, and your body will follow.
If you are someone who is not fat your whole life, and so now you've gained weight and you find it difficult to show up in photos, this video is for you.
So you frame this like some compassionate message, but what you're actually doing here is setting people up for failure. If someone has been thin their entire life and just recently gained weight, that means their body still remembers what it's like to be normal. They can drop the extra pounds far easier than someone who's been overweight for decades. That's biology and reality. But instead of encouraging them to get back to a healthy baseline, you tell them to show up in photos and accept it. That's basically telling them to stay fat. And no, being photographed doesn't suddenly erase the fact that excess weight is one of the leading preventable causes of heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. You're basically distracting people from taking action by making them focus on feelings instead of results.
It makes sense that you feel uncomfortable to show up in photos because we live in a fatphobic society. I know a bunch of people, skinny, fat, everywhere in between, that had to work to be comfortable in photos. Because often we were told that the only people who were worthy of being documented and being photographed were skinny white women that we saw on TV.
This part is hilarious because you drag out the usual victim narrative. We were told only skinny white women were worthy of being documented. Really? Because last time I checked, the camera doesn't magically break when it sees someone overweight. What actually happens is people look at their pictures and don't like what they see. Mirrors and photos are brutally honest, and instead of facing that, you're telling people to shift blame to the system. Let me give you a fact. The CDC reports that over 42% of US adults are obese. That's not because the media only shows skinny people, but because people overeat, move less, and normalize bad habits. It's like saying, don't fix the leaking roof, just learn to enjoy the rain.
You have a decision. You can choose to hate your body, or you can choose to hate the systems that make us hate ourselves because they want to make money.
You talk about the evil diet industry profiting off people hating themselves. Sure, companies make money, that's capitalism, but guess who else profits? The fat acceptance influencers. People like you. You build platforms by convincing others to stay exactly where they are, while selling the fantasy that self-love is enough to erase health consequences. You tell people weight loss is never one and done, as if that justifies quitting altogether. But people who adopt consistent habits, calorie tracking, resistance training, increasing daily activity, can absolutely maintain long-term weight loss. Are there challenges? Sure. But to act like nobody can actually lose weight sustainably is just false. The more dangerous part is that you're not just talking about your own choice. You're actively discouraging others from even trying. You're basically keeping people trapped in a body they don't want, all under the banner of fat liberation.
That is the distinction. Bodily autonomy, you can do what you want. If you want to end up losing weight, that's fine. However, losing weight is not a one and done solution no matter what the weight loss drug companies want to tell you. And so, do you want to be miserable the entire time that you're losing weight? Or do you want to learn about body liberation and be liberated in the body that you have now, and know that if your body changes, your feelings of self-worth, your feelings of affirmation, your feelings of love towards your body are not going to change?
This is where the gaslighting kicks in. You tell people that even if their body changes, their feelings of self-worth should stay the same. Except if that were true, nobody would be watching your TikTok in the first place. People are watching because deep down, they don't feel okay in their current state. And why should they? Being overweight isn't just an aesthetic issue. It's literally shaving years off their life. According to the National Institutes of Health, obesity can reduce life expectancy by up to 14 years. 14 years gone, and you're saying the real issue is whether they feel affirmed? No, the issue is whether they're alive long enough to see their kids grow up, to travel, to function without constant pain or medication.
I think that a lot of people got really hung up on the body positive movement as like a cure, but they never did the actual work to realize that body liberation is not about feeling positive about your body. Body liberation is about knowing that you deserve respect because you exist.
Respect for existing? That's the bar now? Nobody is saying overweight people don't deserve basic dignity, but respect is earned through action, through discipline, through demonstrating values like resilience and self-control. You lower the standard to just being alive.
Because you exist. That is what it's about. Follow other fat people, follow people in bodies like yours and bigger than yours. Often if we see people in our size and sizes larger than us living their full, authentic lives, we often feel permission to also take up space in our lives. That's it. That's my TED Talk. Thanks for listening.
Follow other fat people? Like it's some kind of support system? What that actually is an echo chamber. Instead of being inspired by those who took responsibility and changed their lives, you want them to surround themselves with others who normalize staying unhealthy. That's a cult.
Thanks for this. I have family pics with the in-laws in a few weeks and I'm dreading it. I can think I look fine, but then I see the photos and I look huge and don't recognize myself.
I think taking some time to get reacquainted with your body can help. Like just standing in a mirror and noticing your body without judgment and instead being curious can help a ton.
I'm for body neutrality.
It has helped me so much to see other plus-size people living their lives and looking amazing on here. Still not there myself, but I'm on the journey.
Let's watch her clip again, uninterrupted, and tell me what you think. Do you think she really has good intentions, or is she trying to keep you fat on purpose?
If you are someone who is not fat your whole life, and so now you've gained weight and you find it difficult to show up in photos, this video is for you. It makes sense that you feel uncomfortable to show up in photos because we live in a fatphobic society. I know a bunch of people, skinny, fat, everywhere in between, that had to work to be comfortable in photos. Because often we were told that the only people who were worthy of being documented and being photographed were skinny white women that we saw on TV. You have a decision. You can choose to hate your body, or you can choose to hate the systems that make us hate ourselves because they want to make money. That is the distinction. Bodily autonomy, you can do what you want. If you want to end up losing weight, that's fine. However, losing weight is not a one and done solution no matter what the weight loss drug companies want to tell you. And so, do you want to be miserable the entire time that you're losing weight? Or do you want to learn about body liberation and be liberated in the body that you have now, and know that if your body changes, your feelings of self-worth, your feelings of affirmation, your feelings of love towards your body are not going to change? I think that a lot of people got really hung up on the body positive movement as like a cure, but they never did the actual work to realize that body liberation is not about feeling positive about your body. Body liberation is about knowing that you deserve respect because you exist. That is what it's about. follow other fat people, follow people in bodies like yours and bigger than yours. Often if we see people in our size and sizes larger than us living their full authentic lives, we often feel permission to also take up space in our lives. That's it. That's my TED Talk. Thanks for listening.
The reason that the body positive movement failed is because people did not transition to fat liberation.
No. It failed because it was based on denial and lies. People eventually realized that telling yourself you're healthy at every size while your doctor is warning you about heart disease doesn't hold up in reality. What you're describing as the next step, fat liberation, is nothing more than radicalizing the same failed idea. You're basically saying, don't just love your obesity, force society to love it too.
Body positivity is about learning to love yourself, you, and like your self-confidence, right? Fat liberation, on the other hand, is about like fat people as a whole and people in general unpacking the fatphobic societal beliefs that we are all instilled with.
But people aren't brainwashed into thinking obesity is unattractive. We are hardwired to notice that it's a sign of poor health. Calling this fatphobia is just a way to shame people for recognizing reality.
By unpacking those beliefs and kind of taking away the like negative association with fatness, that is what is going to make you consistently not only feel good in your body, but it also changes the way that you view the world. Like fat people in general, other people's bodies in general, like that is kind of, in my opinion, what the end goal was. Because personally, yeah, I love myself, but that isn't always going to be the easiest thing for everyone to do. And it's like, if you're, let's say, a fat person, right? And you're like, you know, I love myself even though I'm fat, right? It's like, or you change your mindset and you ask yourself, why is fatness seen as something negative to begin with? And
you claim that once you rewire your brain to stop seeing fatness as negative, you'll magically feel better about yourself. No, you don't get to opt out of biology. High body fat is linked to insulin resistance, hypertension, sleep apnea, cognitive decline, and so on. The whole "why is fatness seen as negative to begin with" question shows how detached you are from reality. It's seen as negative because it kills people. According to the CDC, obesity contributes to over 300,000 deaths annually in the US. That's not a stereotype. But instead of encouraging people to address the problem, you're encouraging them to normalize it. Imagine telling smokers that lung cancer stigma is just nicotine phobia. But when it comes to fat acceptance, suddenly it's so different.
And once you start unpacking that belief, you kind of start like pulling at the thread of like what you were taught to think in an inherently fatphobic society. And once you do that and unpack your biases against fatness, you start to see the flaws in the way that this entire society talks about bodies, talks about attractiveness, talks about worth, and how much worth is tied into what you look like.
You talk about society needing to change the way it views bodies. Translation, you want to bully the rest of us into pretending obesity is attractive. People are allowed to have preferences. Attraction isn't a democracy where you get to vote obesity into being desirable.
And the problem is a lot of these content creators that we're seeing kind of backpedaling, they never made that leap, right? It was just about themselves, and it was just about gaining an audience and like using that as a way to kind of perpetuate their brand further. It was never about the collective. It was never about changing the way that they actually viewed bodies and aesthetics and fatness and like just the society that we live in. So that is why the body positive movement failed. Body positivity is about the self, fat liberation is about the collective. The way in which body positivity was co-opted was never sustainable. Anyways.
It's funny you accuse creators of being selfish for focusing on their own journey, while your version demands the entire world reshape their standards for your comfort. Basically, you complain about body-positive creators losing weight. Do you hear how insane that sounds? Someone improves their health, and your reaction is that they betrayed the movement? No, they outgrew the movement.
Anyways. It is very clear when people like get to a point in body positivity that is like beneficial for them, but they don't do the extra work. So those biases that they had against fatness and fat people and like whatever, they're still there and they're still prevalent. So now that's why we see this trend of like body positive creators losing weight and becoming fat phobic. That's the problem. You can lose weight, that's fine, but these people are
180ing from like a body positive platform to like an anti-fat lose weight platform, and that is the problem, because it just shows that they never cared about community, and that is what upsets people, because it was a clearly selfish motivation.
So when the creators lose weight, it proves they never cared about community. Or maybe it proves they cared about living longer than 50. The community you're defending is one that thrives on denial and punishes progress. Maybe your ideology was the problem. This is the most toxic part of your entire philosophy. The sheer hostility you hold for those who choose weight loss. You reveal your true colors here. This was never about choice. This is cult behavior.
And this isn't to say that if you're just body positive, like, you're a bad person or you're selfish, no. But I do personally believe that body positivity should be the stepping stone to fat liberation. Because once you change your way that you view the world as a whole, and you think people's values should lay outside of their bodies, and they should just be able to exist however they are, in whatever state they are, that I think is when we will achieve true freedom.
But your freedom doesn't mean freedom from consequences. True freedom is having the mobility to play with your kids without getting winded. True freedom is not being a slave to insulin injections or blood pressure medication in your 40s. True freedom is looking at a staircase and not seeing an obstacle.
You should be more popular, articulated so well.
I get it, it's like breaking down the system, the ideas versus like working on yourself individually. I think this idea applies to all tiers of oppression too.
The reason it failed is because we made it about the feeling of loving how your body looks, which is always going to be easier for smaller people in a world that values thinness.
Fat phobia hurts all of us. Fat liberation frees us all.
So let's summarize what she was really trying to argue here. According to her, body positivity is about you, learning to love yourself, being confident, feeling good in your own skin. Fat liberation, on the other hand, is supposed to be about society, changing everyone else's standards, dismantling what she calls fat phobia, and forcing the world to treat obesity as normal, even desirable. In her mind, body positivity failed because it was too individualistic. It didn't go far enough. It wasn't radical enough. But both ideas are broken. Body positivity on its own sounds harmless. Who doesn't want people to feel better about themselves? But in practice, it became a shield for ignoring health consequences. According to her definition, fat liberation is even worse because it takes that denial and projects it outward. You're no longer just lying to yourself. You're demanding the entire world lie with you. So whether you call it body positivity, fat liberation, or fat acceptance, it's the same poison in different bottles. One tells you to ignore reality, one tells you to force others to ignore reality, and one tells you to celebrate reality being worse.
Everyone should be a fat liberationist.
That's your big revolutionary idea? You're telling people to celebrate and normalize something that literally kills more people every year than car accidents, smoking, or even many forms of cancer. According to the World Health Organization, obesity contributes to around 2.8 million deaths annually. But sure, let's liberate people from the burden of reality and encourage them to eat themselves into an early grave. That's the world you're imagining, a world where personal responsibility disappears and anyone who dares to promote health is suddenly the enemy.
It's really quite simple. Everyone in a society that has the system of fat phobia within it, which is most westernized or colonized areas, is going to be negatively impacted by fat phobia and anti-fat bias.
When you say everyone is harmed by fat phobia, what you really mean is that the entire population should bend over backwards to validate unhealthy lifestyles. That's the heart of this so-called fat acceptance movement, forcing society to lie to you because the truth, that being obese is bad for your health, is too painful to hear.
Depending on how small or large you are, the fat phobia and anti-fatness will affect you in different ways and will have different material realities. But no matter your size, fat liberation benefits you.
No, fat liberation doesn't benefit anyone. What actually benefits people is weight loss, exercise, and eating food that doesn't come in a family-sized bag at 2 a.m. Body positivity is supposed to be about self-love, but what you're pushing is self-destruction. If you really cared about people, you'd tell them to fix their health. And honestly, if you think ignoring your body is the key to living your, quote, best life, then don't be surprised when that life gets cut short.
Imagine what it would be like if we were all liberated from the idea that our bodies have to be smaller or look a certain way in order for us to live our best lives. Imagine if everybody could wear what they wanted to wear without having to worry whether or not they'll be able to find it in a store near them or not. Imagine spending your time worrying about anything other than your body.
But if you don't worry about your health now, you're going to be worrying about early mobility scooters later. Clothing stores are the least of your worries. You can't buy discipline off the rack. You can't buy stamina. You can't buy self-control. Fat acceptance and body positivity don't liberate you. They chain you to your worst habits and tell you it's empowerment.
Oh yes, everyone should think like me. That's totally the answer.
Everyone should do whatever they want to do and believe whatever they want to believe.
You want people to be unhealthy and fat.